What's up, guys? So today I'm doing a comparison video between four content creators or four YouTube channels on the difference between what African expats and the Western expats are paying for rent in Nairobi. So we're gonna watch the video all of us, and then I'm gonna react at the back end of it. This is Gideon from Mecca. So let's watch the video, and then I'll comment after that. Cheers.
Housing and transportation. On my last visit in Nairobi, I was looking for a house because I wanted to create a new home base for myself. And what I saw there really blew my mind. First of all, I was surprised that so many condos and houses have swimming pools. That is almost impossible to find in Addis Ababa. And I love to swim, that's why that's a big plus for me. What also amazed me was to see that a lot of apartments and houses still have those old wooden rustic floors, and I love that. And just in general, I found that construction works and finishing are on a much higher standard in Nairobi than in Addis Ababa. So if you look at this one-bedroom studio, for instance, it's located in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Nairobi, very close to the UN headquarters. This studio would have cost me around 50,000 Kenyan shilling, which is around 400 US dollar. And I have access to a beautiful swimming pool, I have access to a spa and a sauna, and it is very safe and green.
Of living. In New York, your rent can easily exceed $2,000 for a small apartment that feels more like a shoebox than a home. In Nairobi, I pay less than $900 for a spacious 5-bedroom house in one of the city's most expensive neighborhoods. I even have a big garden that grows avocados, bananas, and many more fruits, vegetables, and herbs. And that is something unimaginable in New York City. You can also find a nice 1-bedroom apartment starting from $300 in a decent area of.
As a foreigner living in Kenya, what should be your budgets for accommodation from a 1-bedroom flat to a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom to a cottage, you know, and so on?
Okay, so I think the what you pay in rent will depend on where you live. And I think that most foreigners like to live close to work. I mean, it makes sense to live close to work. And a lot of businesses are in a place called Westlands and Parklands. So that's where I also have experience living in, because my office is in the same area. And I think that while we were looking for accommodation, we found different options ranging from, I'd say, from $650 in this area. Obviously, if you live outside Westlands, outside Parklands, then it can get cheaper. But just based on my experience and the places we looked, from $650 a month, because rent here is monthly, unlike Lagos where you have to pay maybe 2 years even in advance. But so 650, and I'll say the upper limit was like 3,000, 3,005. I've seen rents up to that area.
Is that for like a villa or what?
Well, it's like maybe for, I think what we saw for 3,000 was like a 5-bedroom apartment. But it's still an apartment. It's not like a 5-bedroom house.
So a house. Okay, with a garden and everything,
yes.
And a pool and all that.
Yes, well, it's very luxurious.
Okay, so I mean, for people coming from maybe North America, Europe, and stuff, 3,000 for such a big.
Yeah, it's like a steal.
Yeah, it's a steal. So, and please, before you come in the comment section and start arguing, we are talking.
Our rent is basically $2,200 a month. You can find cheaper rent. We just found that this is the closest thing to our lifestyle before we left. We hear a lot of people on YouTube say they find cheaper things. I mean, we're in an Airbnb, it was cheaper, but the
quality of living.
Yeah, quality of living was different. So we're back at this place.
Yeah, I think for us, and you have to decide for you what it's going to be like. For us, we wanted to, especially like just being here, new back into the country, and then now living here full time and not here with our missions team or with a missions group. We wanted to be able to live very similar to how we live in America in terms of accommodations and lodging, because we do work from home, and noise was one of the things at the Airbnb. That wasn't really conducive to us being able to work. So yeah, our rent is about $2,200 per month.
Again, if you want to, You can pay $300 and up. We just don't want to do it ourselves right now. So you have to make a decision when you come what you want your quality of life to be in. We're from South Carolina, so that's really not cheap for an apartment there. But if you're from New York, Boston, LA, something like that, then hey, it's a bargain for you.
Right. And so we're coming from a low cost of living area, and then we're coming here. So in actuality, we are paying a little bit more for our accommodations than we did when we were back home. And a lot of people like to say, oh, it's so cheap to live in Kenya. It depends on how you live. And even if you live like an entry level middle.
Okay, so what do I think at the end of it all? Let me see. So the couples, I'll start with Marvin. Marvin, I think for me has one of the best deals. I think he's staying in either Karen or Kitisuru, one of the two, either or any other place. I don't want to say maybe exactly where, but he's getting a really, really good deal for paying almost probably $600 to $800 for almost a 5-bedroom house that has your own garden. Absolutely bang on. Funny, interesting. The funniest thing is you'll find not the funny thing. The one thing that you know about now, Marvin has been in Kenya for like 3 years, so he already knows the ins and outs. I would go to the Nigerian couple who are paying. I don't know if it said exactly he's paying 650. I think that's what you're saying. 650 for $650 for Westlands is actually really, really good. It's also good to note that even for them, they stayed in Kenya for like 3 years. I think she said, I'll link down the original video so you guys can see all the original videos. So that's bang on the back. They've got that correctly. I mean, that's the pricing is really nice. So when you go to the American couple side and Zaman, yes, you can get apartment which go as far as $3,000 in Kileleshwa or Lavington. Is it a fair deal? I'm really not sure. I would rather pay probably a half of that and stay in Karen, which is actually a more classy, a more expensive neighborhood, or even Gigiri as well. Funny thing about the Ethiopian one, yeah, she did her homework quite well. She was going to get that a place for around $400 to $500 for such a place. That's a really, really good bargain. And that's what some of the things that we've been telling experts that take your time, get a local as well if you can, because once you get the good thing about getting a local, even if you're coming as soon as now, is that you can be able to show you some of the places that most people don't know. Not even that, even if you're still going to Kilesha, you're gonna find a better deal when you go with a local, because the truth is, Kenyans, once they hear your accent, they will tend actually to put the prices up. So even in Kileleshwa or in Lavington, some of those prices that you're getting, they actually not the actual price. It's just that someone knows you're a foreigner, so they are probably, unfortunately, going to up the prices. So that's why I usually say take a local if you can. I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm a real estate agent. When you're coming, if you're coming to Kenya, I'll put my contacts in the description. Holler at me. I mean, at the bare minimum, we'll save you quite a lot of money, just monthly. Or even if you go to the others one, we can go and bargain with you, because once at least you know you have a local, it's much easier. So it's very interesting to find what African expats and other Western expats are paying in Kenya. So kindly drop on your comments. Tell me, what do you think? Are these guys being overcharged? Is it too much? Is it fair? I've had people saying, yeah, the money they're paying is very fair. So I would like to hear. So put it down on the comments. Do you think those are fair prices that they're paying? And who exactly do you think is paying the fairest price of them all? My name is Gideon. This is Eka. See you next time.